Grand Rising, my beautiful warrior of love. I just got out of bed and I wanted to just do a real heart to heart with you guys. So, I've been researching information that is basically the truth, right? So, it's like when I watched that movie Matrix when it first came out, I was like, oh, we're being lied to. We're living in a fake reality. Now I need to know what the truth is. And the truth is, everything we were told, almost everything we were told, is a lie. And it's getting close to Christmas um, as I'm recording this. And that's like, for those who grew up with Santa, that was like part of the program, that your parents lie to you about something and it's not real, right? So it's a very innocent thing to go, hey, let's not ruin it for the kids. Let's tell them Santa exists. And then they're being lied to. And usually there's no like, sorry, I lied to you. I don't think it's affected me that much, uh, but it's just a general something. A lot of society, at least in the Western part of the world, kind of plays along with, and unaware of the impacts that it has. As someone who grew up Muslim, I would say circumcision is a huge trauma that society just says, that's the right thing to do. And huge trauma the day you come out of the world. A male doctor that you don't know takes you away from a mother that you do know, and just chops off a part of your body. It's terrible. So I've been sharing a lot of my poems lately. I've been doing a lot of research lately. So I've been doing research since I dropped out of college. I don't know how many years ago. Maybe 20, 25. And I have not stopped. I have not stopped since. So there's a wealth of information, wisdom, truth, suppressed truth, stored in my memory. And yeah, things are escalating, guys. Things are escalating. Things are in this matrix that we're in. There's a chaos, there's a panic, at the same time there's questioning, there's waking up, there's raising awareness, there's solidarity, there's mobilization, but just know that the matrix has tricks up its sleeve. Meaning, don't be that person who always tries to turn what's really happening and sugarcoating it to some positive new agey twist. Don't do that, right? If all hell's breaking loose, all hell's breaking loose. If we're gonna have to go through this dark phase before we get to the other side, let's not pretend it's a beautiful, graceful experience. Some people, oh God, all I see is that there was a time where the rulers of the ones who are trying to rule this world, who are ruling this world, have been ruling this world. And if you're not aware of their connection and the 13 families and the bloodlines and all that, go research that. But they were doing it covertly, right? So let's give them the illusion of democracy and choose your presidents, choose your politicians, but we'll rule from behind the scenes. And let's create and this is some countries, right? Like, I just heard that in China, they're literally changing the words in the Bible. Like, from what I just researched this morning, I don't like the word morning. Earlier this day, uh, uh, the church, the Bible got changed, and they just changed the freaking Bible. They wrote, those without sin cast the first stone, and then Jesus went up to the woman and like stoned her because he was like, yeah, like that's crazy, that's ridiculous, and banned all the apps that have to do with the Bible, right? And then you got to question the takeover of where we're at. Everything. It's like America as a company. There's a rapper called B.O.B. He goes, "Who owns the title? Is it Russia or China? America, the company. Who owns the title? Is it Russia or China?" So when a company's not doing good, which again is by design, it's by design. These guys are like, let's destroy this country. Let's give away money. Let's bring in more people into the country. They're trying to destroy it. Trying to make the company so easy to buy. And then the question becomes, let's say China is buying it. China's buying a lot of stuff. It's got a lot of money. When I was in Jamaica, they were saying China pretty much like bought has put a lot of money into Jamaica. And when I was in the West Coast, it feels like, of Canada, I don't know if that's the same. I don't know how is China sending people, like how is China buying out all. And then if you want to know who runs things, it's like as we're distracted, they're trying to create a whole Muslim versus, Muslim versus Christian versus Jew thing. Because guess who gets away with that? The country that's erasing Bible verses. It's not involved. It's gonna be there in the background. So they're just going from covert to overt, in your face. For whatever reason, maybe they've gotten so confident. Maybe we've given up so much of our power to their systems, right? We've given a lot of our power to money. We've given a lot of power to the miseducation system, right? We've given our power away to pharmacy, to media, right? So I think meteorite. Interesting. So, I usually do these when I'm walking around, and something just feels like I gotta get this off my chest. And yeah, if it is China, and it's over, it's in your face. And I really believe there's a lot of movies that are showing more and more reptilians. Oh yeah, if you want to know, who's behind all of this, because even Kanye, I want to do a whole video on Kanye because I want to extract the truths in what he's saying. But he's such a dangerous character because if he's being used, which I feel he is, if he is being used, he's being used in a very because there's warfare for the sheeple, and then there's warfare for the people who are researching the stuff. And for the people who are researching the stuff, you really need to outsmart them. You need someone to speak your lingo. And there was a time they ran the Trump program, and still are, where people who were into conspiracies were like, oh my God, this guy's the truth. This guy's one of us. And I fell for that. I fell for that because my mind just reads between the lines. Like, based on my research, it connects dots. And I was like, oh shit, I thought I was so smart. I thought that they weren't. I was so used to a world where there's the sheeple, and then there's people who know about these things. I don't even like that word sheeple. People who don't know about these things, people who know about these things. And I thought I was so smart. I thought they didn't have, a tactic warfare, psychological warfare on me, but they did with Trump. So when I unplugged from that, Kanye and Trump have met, right? So Kanye is the type of person I feel who will go to someone and kind of share with them stuff, but also learn from them. That's how he learns. He says he doesn't like to read books, so he learns by having meetings, and he like learns some strategies. So what does Trump know? Well, Trump knows how to be a very divisive character. Trump knows how to keep his name in the media, have everyone hate him, or have half the people hate him. It's very extreme. It's like these people love me and everyone else hates me. And I feel like Kanye took some notes, and I feel like he implemented how to do that. It's very interesting because a lot of the stuff he's exposing is true, and it's like, why is he truly risking his life? Because this is the tricky part. It feels like he is for himself. It's multiple layers. It's not black. Kanye West is not black or white. It's not black or white. It's not a black or white thing. Well, it's not you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of gray area. But the facts are, when you sell out, you lose a family member, which he's confessed in a freestyle. I've sold to the devil. The price was cheap, but at least it came with a few toys like a Happy Meal. And it's like my mom died for this. My mom got sacrificed for this. And it feels like he pushes the edge. And it feels like when he pushes the edge, he's testing how far can he go. And it feels like it's coming from this like resilient spiritual. He's got his moon in Pisces, which I have too, which MJ had too, Michael Jackson. And they both feel like I could see this commonality of spiritual warrior. It's not like a physical, I'm going to go to the record company with a bunch of goons and like some TLC shit, but it feels more like, just like spiritual, not afraid to speak the truth. When MJ was exposing the head of Sony, Tommy Mottola at the time, he was like, this guy's a devil, based on what Mariah Carey was telling him. So it feels like, again, there's division. Like, I feel the division. I'm a victim of this division. Like, when I see someone posting and saying, I love Israel, and I feel there's like no empathy towards Palestinians as well. I feel like I withdraw a little bit from that person. It feels a little unsafe to me. I make sure whenever I'm posting, because I hate when they try to divide and conquer us. As a Palestinian, almost every time I post about Palestine, I always word it in a way where it's like human life on both sides, children on both sides, innocent civilians on both sides. I want both sides to wake up and be free. I want both sides to be liberated. I want both sides to unite, right? So And I don't even like saying sides because there was a time that my granddad lived in what is now called Israel, which was called Palestine before 1948, and had a Jewish neighbor. So no one said sides. No one said, "Hey, granddad, which side are you on?" It was like there's so much. I remember telling my parents, I'm like, "What do you think we were before Christianity? What do you think our ancestors were before Islam came along? We were probably Christians. They couldn't. My dad couldn't. He wouldn't say it, but we were probably Christians as people from Semitic people of that land. Mom's ancestors are in Lebanon, which is right next to it. But there's a time there wasn't a Lebanon and a Palestine and a Georgia, and Syria. It was all called Bilad Sham. It was all one powerful country. My granddad, despite the propaganda that that Israeli mind control wants to do, and act like we're a bunch of, angry, extremist, peasant farmers, my granddad was one of the first Palestinians to graduate from Cambridge University in the UK, and didn't even speak English. I don't know how he did it. He went to a whole country on a boat that took 2 weeks to get there, and went into college and graduated from one of the best universities in the world. So my point is, things feel like they're escalating. The first video I did when lockdown started was a series on grieving. Just a reminder to check where you're at with grieving the old world. First of all, are you accepting the fact that the old way is done? There's even a movie out now or something that says we'll never go back to normal. There is no going back to the old way. So that's not scary. It just means, I feel like it could be the divine matrix even using the false matrix to nudge us, right? How does spirit nudge us when we look back on our lives? Spirit, divine matrix, God nudges us through negative experiences, usually a breakup, getting fired, health stuff, and out of that you can move yourself forward to a better situation. So if that's the case, because it doesn't have to be black or white, it doesn't have to be this is either all dark forces or it's all the light. Just a reminder, like planet Earth is like one speck of dust in this infinite, vast universe. For some reason on our planet, we don't look at it that way. We look at it like this is all there is. It's a weird planet because we keep coming, a lot of souls, they die and they keep coming back here. It's like how some Americans are so brainwashed that America is the only safe country based on the propaganda in Hollywood movies that I have seen personally over and over again. Every time the American hero leaves America to go to another country, there's always the first thing that happens is there's some evil guys with guns pointing the guns at them. What that subconsciously says is, I'm not Vin Diesel. Someone told me I looked like them at one point, but I'm not Vin Diesel, and if I'm going to Brazil, like if that's happening to Vin Diesel in this movie, when he goes to Brazil, what's going to happen to me, right? That's the subliminal. Let me stay in my country because it's safe. I feel like there's a similar propaganda on planet Earth. It's like I was watching a documentary about near-death experiences yesterday, and it's like this soul that left the body. Like, my point is, step one is grief, going through the grief phase. Like, step one is technology. Yes, the old world's dying, but maybe there's new world, which is the old way, the really old way, which is growing food and being self-sustainable. Um, I was watching the video today that alcohol, when during Prohibition, people were running their cars on moonshine, and then very conveniently after that it became prohibited, and then all the people selling alcohol to the cars just disappeared. What happened to that? And then the fucking group, the group of people who wanted to sell petroleum came in, but they were more sustainable, right? These guys hate when we're sustainable. So how can you create sustainability in your life where you don't need them? You don't need their to be in their system. You can live independently, right? There's Mother Earth provides us all that we need, right? So that's a matrix right there, a beautiful Mother Earth matrix. There's the divine matrix. God gives us everything we need, right? So we can tap into those realities. And when we are fully tapped into those realities, we're no longer afraid of losing this false reality. And it's such a strong nudge that if you don't exit this matrix, it's just going to keep getting worse. More control, less power, less choice. These guys don't care about you being a vegan. They don't care about animals. They burnt all the fucking all the animal farms, plants or whatever they're called, during COVID. They were all just going up on fire. And then what did they start pushing? This fake meat thing. Second, you see Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's definitely part of this cabal. If you don't get the vaccine, you should die. Go fuck yourself. Or whatever he said, I can't remember. He's like making fun of the people who, like, not even making fun of people who don't want to take the vaccine, but he was like, you guys are idiots, you should probably just die. Like, it's like we're lesser than, like, to our faces. Meanwhile, he ruined his whole relationship because he slept with the freaking housemate. Slept with the nanny or whatever they had over there. So they don't care about meat. They don't care about animals. They don't care about our health, right? The second you see that this Netflix documentary, Game Changers, where they're promoting vegetarianism and Arnold's in it, you got to question it. Just like back in the days when, what was that politician that, Al Gore? Al Gore. When Al Gore was running for president and lost to President Bush. And then he came up with a documentary about the environment. The second these guys start, this is like early on, this is super early. I knew then, it was like 15 years ago or something. I don't know, a long time ago. When he's talking about the environment, I'm like, oh shit. There's an agenda here. The fact that this politician cares about the environment, there's something fishy here. And it's only increased. Now it's being weaponized. Now they want to, hey, did you recycle? No, okay, you don't get to use the subway today. You don't get to, I don't know how they'll use it to control us, but they have in China. You got to make sure you're eating your fake meat, And then who pushes the fucking fake meat thing? Isn't it? Is it Bill Gates who's behind it? Mission Impossible, Mission Impossible burgers. Terrible. And if they really care about the environment, there are people like myself who don't usually buy new clothes, who buy used clothes because of that mindset. I don't want to be a part of some like child slavery making this clothes, even though I bought this sweater. I usually buy like independently made. Usually they're a lot more expensive. When I do buy like certain items like Rage Nation pants that I'm wearing. But usually it's like used clothes I love thrift shopping. So why not promote thrift shopping, right? Why is there not a big push to thrift shop? Because these companies own clothes companies. They'll make a loss, right? So it's selective. It's not, okay, guys, here are the new rules in order to sustain planet Earth. Everyone grow food in your gardens. They're not saying that. They're buying out all the farmland, right? Amazon bought out, what's that grocery shop called? That one, the healthy one. Bill Gates just recently bought out apple cider vinegar, Bragg's. Everyone that I know owns, usually uses Bragg's, and changed the ingredients in it. So it's like this big takeover. And this big takeover means, oh shit, while we were panicking, these guys were taking more and more profit, so they have more and more control. These guys are not, they can't be human. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I look at the old Mark Zuckerberg and the new kind of Mark Zuckerberg, and I'm like, they're not the same person. I look at the old Elon, new Elon, not the same person. Look at old Kanye, new Kanye. I wonder sometimes. And best believe they have the technology to do that, right? So, but these guys have a whole different religion. They have a whole different perspective on life, on especially if they got indoctrinated with the Talmudist Talmudist ways of thinking. It's very toxic. It's like we can profit off of other people. Other people are less than human. Treat others less than human. Do whatever you want to them. Their children. It doesn't matter. Very profane stuff about Jesus. Just very. I don't even want to say it. And that is that is a philosophy, a mindset that is existing to a small group of people who hide under the Jewish umbrella, right? It's very concerning. I was listening to a band interview yesterday. And again, I don't even want to associate with this celebrity because they seem just so it feels like Kanye researched stuff about Zionism, researched stuff about Netanyahu, researched stuff about the Talmud, because he was exposing that in his interview. But then at the same time, he says stuff like, I love everybody, I love everybody, yet it seems like he is, and I think I get it. I think I get what he's doing. He's seeming like he has an issue with Jewish people. That's why he's being canceled. But I think he's like a little kid with that spiritual Moon Pisces warrior trying to exercise. He is exercising his free will. He knows I'm pretty sure he's aware. The fact that he was mocking Netanyahu on the Alex Jones show before all of this Palestine Israel stuff came along feels like to me someone was like, hey, Kanye, did you know about Mossad? Because he talked about Mossad. Did you know that Mossad has America by the balls? You know, you're not aware of that? Go research Epstein and all of his buddies and realize who Epstein was. Mossad agent. Mossad means Israel. Why does Israel want to have politicians in America and high-level people in America in compromised situations and to blackmail them? Why? Like, by the way, they didn't create that just to profit. That not only did they make tons of money from these highest level people prostituting innocent children, but they also, on not only did they make tons of money, that was one level of it. The other level is, now I own Bill Gates. Now I own the British royal dude. Now I own all these celebrities. You know, I have all of them by the balls. So now if I want them to make a whole propaganda movie for me, they'll do it. Now, celebrities already are kind of owned for the most part. So they'll just do what they're told, because they're aware of what happens when they don't. You know what happens to a celebrity when they don't do what they're told? Look what happened to Michael Jackson when he was about to do a world tour. Look what happened to Prince when he was exposing chemtrails on live television. Look what happened to, I can't even get into the rabbit hole, because there's some celebrities that are like, what do you mean that person's dead? Yeah, they're dead. They've been cloned, and there's a clone that's pretending to be them right now. But I don't even want to go there. But I'll say, look what happened to Eminem. Yeah, the Eminem that we're seeing right now is not the real Eminem. And yeah, I think he had an album called Relapse or something. And I remember listening to it and I'm like, doesn't sound like Eminem, doesn't feel like Eminem, is dark as fuck. Like, it just became really dark. And even though Eminem's stuff had darkness, it was darkness that was coming from, like, it would actually inspire me. The anger that, you know, at that phase, at that stage of my life, just like, as an Aries, it's just like that passionate anger. Passionate anger. And then it just became demonic. And when I looked at him, I was like, he doesn't even look the same. So, and when you study, I'll do a whole video on this, but when you study Eminem's lyrics at that time, he had a song called, he's like, Bush, fuck Bush, go fight your own wars. Like, he was challenging the Bush administration. Like, even Kanye, Mr. I'll say whatever I want, was on an interview being like, so do you feel bad about what you said about Bush? And it's like, I feel bad. I'm sorry about what I said. Like, you could just tell that they got to him, even if they got to Kanye. And he was like, he's so reluctant, but they were basically trying to get him to eat his words. And it just felt like he was, say what you want about Kanye. Like, what celebrity said George Bush does not care about black people? What celebrity is talking about Netanyahu and Mossad? Like, none of them, right? So, but is he compromised? Does he actually believe in God? Does he worship Lucifer, as what happens when you go up high up on the Freemasonic levels, degrees? You know, what is Lucifer? There's a whole documentary I watched on Esoteric Eddie's documentaries about Lucifer and the Baphomet. So misinterpreted. You know, they've been so misunderstood. So Oh, I said so much here. So if you are wanting to get a glimpse of what could be happening if you're living in America, a great thing to study, excuse me, oh, is how people in Wuhan, China, um, were controlled through the credit score system. Knowing how their phones got weaponized, how there's this digital ID and rights to those who are good little boys and girls following Big Brother's rules, and less privileges, and you're treated lesser than if you don't do good things. And it becomes like points systems. And now I'm like, oh, fuck. Last time I had one of those was in school. And I had the most negative points on my little scorecard. So I'm like, that's not going to work for me. We would literally have to I would, and a few other bad kids would have to get the teachers to sign at the end of every class so that at the end of the day, the principal can be like, okay, you went to all your classes, good. But I would forge their signatures if I needed to. Or it was more like the teacher would sign at the end of the class only if you were good. That's what it was. I remember that. I started forging their signatures. And then at the end of the day, it's like, oh, wow, you were really good today. And then they punished you. They punished me so there was weekly exams. And if I failed those weekly exams, they would keep me after school. And if I failed after school, the tests, they would bring me on the weekends. And if I kept failing throughout the semester, all the weekends, then they'd bring me during summer school, which has happened before. And I wouldn't give in. Again, that resilient spirit of, I think I tried, I tried, but I also didn't give in. But that mindset of we'll stay on your case till you give in is their mindset. Everyone needs to be controlled. So then that opens up the question to, what are the options? Well, there's an option you stay in wherever you are, hold it down, pray for the best, prepare for the worst. There's an option that we exist in this. There's an option that you're like, I fucking love it. I'll do whatever Big Brother wants, and I'll thrive in this new economy. I'll feel like I'm being screwed at the same time, or maybe not. But I will continue wherever Big Brother takes me. And then there's another option where, wow, I just got a flash of like World War III, and I was like, here we are debating our options, and like, are we even gonna survive World War III? I just saw like a huge number of us just no longer here. Which brings me to my next point. Sorry. I was not expecting that. So, okay, let me finish that train of thought. So, the other option is you you exit the system. There's an event coming up called the Greater Reset. Happens at the same time the Great Reset happens, which is the evil rulers coming together from different parts of the world to create this new Big Brother state, or to continue moving it forward, right? And take more and more of our freedoms away. It's called the Great Reset. And then the one that my friends have created is called the Greater Reset. And these guys are creating the solutions for all of that fuckery that's going on in the other one. Solutions like tech sovereignty, food sovereignty, buying land, homesteading, growing food, permaculture, community building, all of that. Highly recommend checking it out. You can go online or you can go in person. I think it's both in Texas and Mexico. All right, next. So there's that option, right? And I've lived in those places. I've witnessed that. It is happening. It's a growing movement. It's to me like it's such an extreme all or nothing. Like my Aries mind is very extreme, but it is that. It's either completely Big Brother technocratic, or in my mind at least, or you're either not free in their world, or you're free in as free as you want or can create, or you can be. Technically, you can be free anywhere. Freedom is a choice, even though they're coming after it as much as they can through indoctrination and manipulation and all of that. And oh my God, the kids. I'm so concerned about the kids because it's going to get to the point where it's like the parents have no choice. Kids are already brainwashed. They're already, controlled. They're already, school is like the parent, not the parent. And then what are they indoctrinating our kids with every day? It's a lot of time. There's a lot of time and a lot of indoctrination is happening. And Rothschild, who invested in the public school system back in the days, said, I don't want smart people. I want dumb people to be in the workforce. Hence, this level of education. It's not education, it's indoctrination. Do what you're told. Good boy, good girl if you do that. Which is put that into the workforce, and it's the same thing. Take a video, recording of how your school situation was, and then go to the workplace, and it's like same thing. Now there are positive versions of that. There's places, I don't know, I get weird vibes from the guy who created Mind Valley, but like you can create a spiritual, corporate, really love-based environment at work. But anyways, let me get back to the flow. And then there's this other option that I'm feeling, which is exiting the matrix. Exiting the matrix. So based on the fact that these guys want to keep planet Earth at 500 million. It was written on the Georgia Guidestones. I don't know if it's still there, but definitely you can see it online. That they have tons of strategies. Look at Bill Gates going to all these third world countries and injecting them with stuff. Look at the fact that the jabby jab that a lot of people took, how that's affecting being able to give birth. Look at all the propaganda towards like almost making it's normal to be gay, but they're making it that gay is the new norm, which is not accurate. Meaning, let's say if 1 out of 5 children are gay, naturally, they're trying to make it that, hey, if you're not, like, how can we increase those numbers by making it more normal than it actually is and glorifying it, and there's brainwashing and propaganda behind it. And how can we, that's helping with the population thing as well. I mean, it sounds so ridiculous. What? Brainwash a straight person to turn gay, or so that they don't, so that they embrace the gay. Maybe, I mean, I personally know someone who's bisexual and just chose to be a lesbian after watching something on Netflix. So, yes, it does work. This is someone who, like, I don't know, is a warrior, spirit. So imagine like, I don't want to judge, because imagine someone whose brain is still, eating all these bad foods and is, just more susceptible to brainwashing. And so there's this other option called exit the matrix, which, so between them wanting to wipe out a whole bunch of us through these manipulated wars that is happening now as we speak, Israel, Yemen, China, like there's just instigation happening. Okay, finish up. So in that case, wow, death is an option. And by death, I just mean leaving this body. So it's really, 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 really important to not only grieve the old world, but also go through your ego death. It's been so humbling to go through this ego death. It's just like, okay, what else can I let go of? Okay, that's not who I am. Okay, I'm not identified with being an Aries anymore. I let that go. Okay, I'm letting go of my business. I'm letting go of my attachment to money. I'm letting go of my attachment to me being a healer. Like the fact that I just sat on this couch and recorded, letting go of giving a shit about how I look, and the fact that I've been putting more and more of these videos out. It's like what would you do? Like, what are you feeling in your heart and soul to share? Like, how about we turn this into a beautiful opportunity? How about I invite, not everyone loves challenges, especially women. Men are driven by challenges. Women are more nurturers. So I invite you to, and if you like the challenges, I challenge you. If you like the invitation, I invite you to create your content. If you had 1 hour left on planet Earth, what would you share in that video? Right? Each one of us, when we're faced with our mortality, shit gets, like before we die, things start to get really clear, right? It's important to feel like I'm letting go of so much that I feel like I'm like, well, why am I still here? I've let go of so much, and my purpose was such a big part of, well, I don't want to say my purpose, I want to say my job. Interesting. Like doing healing sessions, mentoring others and I feel like the universe is helping me slowly like let that go. And it's like, what am I left with? I'm left with myself. I'm left with my fears. I'm left with, I don't say my fears, I'm left with fears, right? So one by one, fear of death. Because at the root of it, it's so funny because I'm not afraid of death. I almost died once and I wasn't afraid of my body dying. Oh yeah, I didn't finish that story. So in the near-death experience, they left their body, but then they felt so like not in their comfort that they went back in their body. So there's this like comfort that we have even when we leave our bodies, that we want to come back to our bodies, because we've gone accustomed to it. It's comfortable. We don't know what's, like, we've forgotten what is to be outside of our bodies, right? So we stay in it. It's like being in a toxic relationship and you're like, but I've gone accustomed to it. And that's how I feel like people are with Earth. They're like, it's a toxic relationship, but I've grown accustomed to it. It's terrible. So the next step is, going through the ego death, the phases of actual death. But then sometimes I question, I'm like, if I am ready to exit the matrix, I think your soul will just guide you. What are the things you need? Yeah, you face fears, you face um, maybe like a feeling of self. Like for me, I'll share my vulnerability. I don't like losing. I don't like bullying. Um, I, I, I want fairness. I want justice. And if I want those things, yeah, there's this like feeling of defeat. Like me coming up with this video today and recording it is me being like, let me inject some truth, some emotion, some thoughts as like is that me trying to be like, look, I'm living my purpose, I'm sharing my truth? Therefore, I'm creating a reason to still be here. So is that still coming from attachment? So part of this ego death is making sure you're doing things not from a place of attachment. Because we can use things. I was using my business to like distract me. I'm maybe creating this video right now to distract me. Most probably I am. From what I really need to be doing. One of the things I had to let go and I was really struggling with was, yeah, to be honest, guys, the psychological warfare got to me, and I've had and still have, but a lot less. When I talk about why we need to go buy land, grow food, explore countries like Costa Rica, Mexico, Europe, like Spain, Portugal, it was coming from a place of fear. And I had so many people around me tell me, hey, I'm feeling the fear behind that. And I had to do work on that and still do. So I want to let go of that fear because I want to surrender to the worst case. And from that worst case, move forward. That was what I did in that early grieving process. I'm like, okay, what's the worst thing that could happen? Okay, under that, death. Oh, that's the worst? Okay. So let me face my death. Okay, so that happened. The worst case happened. Worst case. And I am now starving to death, and my body dies. So now that I've faced the worst case scenario in my mind, I've faced it, right? So your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between real and imagined. So now that I've faced my death, I can make sure I'm moving forward, not from I guess there's healthy fear. I started using the word healthy in almost every word because everything has a shadow, everything has a light side and a dark side, and I feel like things like confidence, there's healthy confidence, there's unhealthy confidence, like toxic, there's healthy masculinity, unhealthy. There's yeah, so there's a healthy version of everything. So to conclude this video, I will say it's really important to, well, I don't want to say it's really important, but I've been guided to grow through this, reclaim more and more of my power, let go of more and more of my fears, face them. There's this, like, again, healthy surrender. There's healthy surrender. There's healthy ego. There's healthy actions. But if I clear everything, what is left? What am I feeling left with? When we clear all the distractions and we clear all the need for any action, I heard it in one of those podcasts. I keep talking about this guy called Howdy, who's the author of the book Exit the Cave. And one of my biggest takeaways was like, okay, I'm unattached. Whether I live or die, I'm unattached to that. And there was an emphasis on where is it coming from when you choose to do things. So before I even, because I've been trying to buy land and become sustainable for like 3 years now. And I feel like every time I go to do it, there's comes with like a twist, a challenge that seems hard to manifest. And it's almost like if it is my higher self, it feels like it's my higher self saying, don't do this out of panic. I panicked. I was panicking 100%. And in my mind, I was saying, well, if I'm a Jew in Nazi Germany and I'm seeing what's happening, will I not panic when I feel like my whole people are going to be sent to concentration camps? Is that not justified? And I was, it's like, hey, I'm feeling your fear. I mean, it wasn't like that, but I'm making fun of like how certain people, spiritual people, are like, hey, that's fear. Fear is bad. And it's like, if you were a Jew in Nazi Germany, wouldn't you use fear to, and again, this is why I say this, healthy fear. Healthy fear would get us to be like, okay, this is what's happening. If we want this is what we need to do, right? It's like taking actions, being aware that something bad's going to happen, and letting that drive you. So I guess panicking is when you're like how I was, and had I acted on some of those opportunities from that place of panic, that's when stupid decisions happen, right? There's tons of stories of Americans and Canadians who went to Mexico and gave all their money to a Mexican to buy some land and never heard from that person again. My heart goes out to you guys. That is not cool. Can't be naive in this new world. And then there's this other reality where it's like the haves versus the have-nots, and the have-nots are like ganging up and just like taking what they can when they can. There's a song, why are we dying to live when we're just living to die? Yeah, it just comes to mind. Why are we dying to live when we're just living to die? If I had a choice between like surviving and dying, do I really want to just survive? Like, here's enough to keep me alive? That's not a strong enough reason. So I think it's really important to, one thing that I'm figuring out is my why. And until I find my why, there's like zero motivation to do anything. And based on this whole exit the cave, life is a matrix, it's like why am I trying so hard to stay in a fake reality? Why? I need a bigger why in order to continue. And when you find your why, your reasons, for some of you it just feels like I used to care so much and be so empathic, and now it just feels a little bit different. And that's another one of those grieving things, is in the past, it's like, oh, this is happening, I need to fix it. Oh, this is happening. So that's why my last post on Facebook was be in the world but not of it, which is in the Bible. Be in the world but not of it. Jesus said, be in the world but not of the world. And that's how I interpret it. I feel like that is our homework right now, is to be in the world but not of the world. And where you find yourself of the world, meaning attached to worldly things, to surrender that attachment. So that's part of our homework. Where are we attached? So to me, it doesn't have to be that Aries extreme, all or nothing. There could be that middle point where I continue exploring as much as I want what's happening, what happens in my reality, co-creating it, maybe aiming for that self-sustainable vision in community, and continue to do the things that light me up, that inspire me, which, to be honest, is one of them is researching the stuff that I'm sharing and sharing it. That's feels really good to me. Feels really inspiring. And so there's that option where you, regardless of whichever world we decide to go into, we can always still be in the world but not of it. Would love to hear your thoughts below. Do you guys want me to continue doing these type of videos? Are they too long? Would you rather they're shorter nuggets? Just give me some feedback. Would love your feedback so I can know how to better share this information. Love you guys. Let me say that with real emotions. I love you. Thanks for being with me here. Thanks for listening to me.